Justice is finally served. Trey Gowdy just got the ultimate job. This is huge. Today has been loaded with huge news. In the first place, James Comey outed himself as a leaker and implied a collusion between Hillary Clinton and Loretta Lynch. Presently, Trey Gowdy just got the official call to carry out work that will make him a standout amongst the most powerful individuals in the whole nation. Trey Gowdy is the new head of the House Oversight Committee. Gowdy is replacing outgoing head Jason Chaffetz, who chosen to venture down before completion his term. While the name House Oversight Committee may not sound energizing, it is a standout amongst the most intense positions in the U.S. government. Gowdy basically now has finished oversight and morals assurance of the White House from now until he ventures down or the greater part changes. Could this be the last bit of the perplex expected to drain the swamp? Trey Gowdy beyond any doubt destroyed Hillary amid that Benghazi hearing and has been ablaze from that point onward. Possibly it's an ideal opportunity to bring her down seriously. In any case, it is awesome news. Despite the fact that the story was at first answered to CNN by sources, Paul Ryan immediately affirmed the news and complimented Gowdy on his achievement. Trey Gowdy possesses the experience and deep commitment to transparency and accountability necessary to be the House's next oversight chairman. He has proven that he will always look out for taxpayers and seek answers from the bureaucracy. Trey has my absolute confidence, and I know he will do an outstanding job. For probably the first time, I concur with Paul Ryan 100%. Of course, I would have wanted to see Gowdy on the Supreme Court or in the FBI, however, this is an incredible job for him too. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. HTCNN. Unthinkable. Right after Comey admitted he leaked, his source did something absolutely nuts. Amid yesterday's hearing, previous FBI Director James Comey admitted to the Senate panel that he himself leaked documents to the New York Times about his meeting with President Trump. The way Comey got it to them without being gotten was by utilizing his old companion, law professor Daniel Richman. In any case, what was really fascinating is the thing that happened to Richman moments after Comey went on TV. In the first place, Richman told the press that he was behind the leaks. At that point, he did the unthinkable. Daniel Richman went into hiding. Presently, why might he have potentially gone into hiding? Gracious, hold up, it's hard to believe, but it's true since he and his amigo Comey broke the law. Regardless of knowing the archives were FBI property, Richman took the records Comey had unlawfully brought with him after his firing. He at that point took those administration documents, purportedly recording delicate discussions with the U.S. president, and offered them to the press. It may not end with this single hole, either. As indicated by an article in the New Yorker a month ago, Richman has for quite some time been Comey informal media surrogate so he can get data out. I'd say if this man has nothing to shroud, he ought to approach and face his own judgment like a man. This faint-hearted leak and leave situation needs to end. Indeed, even James Comey said leakers hurt our nation. All things considered, on the off chance that they purposely leaked while knowing it would hurt America, how is it not a wrongdoing? What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. HT New York Post. Uncovered. Kellyanne Conway exposes the dirty truth, Comey's reputation ruined, libs furious. Previous FBI Director James Comey encapsulates the lip service of the left. When he was a director and investigating the Queen of Mean, he was totally loathed, one of the most noticeably awful chiefs of the FBI, ever. At that point when he declared he wouldn't be prescribing charges to the Attorney General for Hillary, he was an aggregate saint. At that point, he revived the investigation just before the election and the Democrats turned on a dime and abhorred him once more. At that point, the last curve, President Trump needed to flame Comey and afterward liberals flipped out. Forward and backward, back forward. It was out of line. Comey was a god. Everybody in Washington adored him. Trump is the miscreant. Okay, yet senior staff member Kellyanne Conway can't help disagreeing. Conservative Tribune. President Donald Trump's pugnacious advisor went after former FBI Director James Comey during a Monday morning interview on NBC, where she said that most of Washington detested this man before he was fired. Conway's remarks dealt with Comey's scheduled testimony before Congress this Thursday. I would point out two things. Most of Washington, of course many of the Democrats, detested this man until Donald Trump fired him, which Jim Comey said in his own goodbye letter was the right of the president to do. Secondly, Jim Comey, the last time he testified under oath, the FBI had to scurry and correct his testimony almost immediately because what he said was false. He was off by hundreds of thousands in terms of the emails between Huma Abedin and Anthony Weiner, and there were only 2 classified in there, apparently, and he was off by many, many in terms of the classification. Paul Rosenstein unmistakably authenticated the way that spirit in the organization was down, and Comey's treatment of the Clinton investigation was far out of his purview. On the off chance that Comey lies, he confers prevarication. On the off chance that he comes clean, liberals' heads will detonate. I favor the last mentioned. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. T. Conservative. First Lady Melania sends Michelle into attack of fury over announcement about first family's vacations. She's the best. Most Americans are seeing a huge distinction as of now between previous First Lady Michelle Obama and current First Lady Melania Trump. A few Americans are contrasting Melania with previous First Lady Jackie Kennedy. Jackie Kennedy was about class, balance, magnificence, style, thus a great deal more. Melania directed the majority of that on Inauguration Day. Initially, Melania Trump will be a stark distinction from Michelle Obama, not just with regards to putting style and class back in the White House, yet Melania has as of now stated, she will likewise be remaining in New York until Barron completes his school year. Second, as seen by numerous Americans, when Melania Trump referred to the Lord's Prayer at the opening of a Trump rally in Florida, religion will be front and preeminent in the White House. At last, Melania has additionally said she is not going to stick citizens with any overindulging and pampered stream-setting getaways like the previous First Lady Obama did. While the Trumps are in the White House and the First Family, they will be subsidizing their own vacations. Practically when her better half was chosen, Michelle Obama started developing an notoriety for being the vacationer-in-chief. Indeed, there's no denying she appreciated stream-setting from nation to nation on the citizens' dime, treating herself, her 2 spoiled girls, and her undeserving mother to probably the most sumptuous housing the world brings to the table. That is the reason Americans across the nation discovered it overwhelmingly invigorating when Donald and Melania Trump reported that they would be paying for their own vacations while they're the first family of the United States. What's more, Melania has pledged to keep her own staff to a base, and will just contract the same number of staff members as are significant to her employment as First Lady. As MRC Blog reports, this couldn't be more unique in relation to Michelle's way to deal with the employment, as she wasted our expense dollars on enlisting a tremendous staff for herself to make sure she could encourage her own conscience. I think that Melania is going to be outstanding, President Trump said of his wife. She, like others that she's working with, feel very, very strongly about women's issues, women's difficulties. She's a very, very strong advocate. I think she's a great representative for this country. Donald Trump never needed to be president for the monetary advantages. He was at that point one of the world's wealthiest men. Notwithstanding paying his own particular manner with regards to time off, he has likewise broadly turned down the standard presidential compensation, picking rather get the base of $1 every year. So in outline, President Trump's taking just $1 per year rather than a $400,000 per year pay. The First Family will likewise subsidize their very own vacations. Though, by examination Obama's getaways fetch near $100 million more than 8 years. That is as of now a huge measure of dollars and investment funds for the persevering, tax-paying Americans, and that is simply looking at Trump's compensation and travel. Furthermore, the First Lady Melania has promised to keep her staff to a base. Up until this point, she has employed Lindsey Reynolds as Chief of Staff, Stephanie Winston Wolkoff as a Senior Advisor, and is taking a gander at Natalie Jones as new Social Secretary. Though by correlation, Michelle Obama had a staff of 24. Amazing. Still more reserve funds for tax-paying Americans. Looks to me like the Trump first family is headed toward a decent begin at living inside sensible means like the greater part of other dedicated, tax-paying Americans. The Trump first family is specifically controlling waste and spending, which is a little begin towards paying off the powerful shortfall that Obama left, near $20 trillion debt for America. One more critical issue of note, First Lady Melania will be working towards her central goal of counteracting cyberbullying of youths while in office. This is another unmistakable difference from First Lady Michelle Obama, who some may state left a touch of a persistent flavor, particularly among many school kids. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. T. Joe for America. Weather Channel founder explains why climate change is a lie on live TV. President Trump was right all along. John Coleman, a founder of the Weather Channel, showed up on CNN to emphasize his position that climate change is not happening. The veteran climate forecaster told CNN's reliable sources that the new system was advancing a wrong view on the issue. CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming, that it is a consensus, he said. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science is not a vote, science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it, climate change is not happening. There is no significant, man-made global warming now, there has not been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney. Coleman said environmental change hosts turn out to be a piece of the Democratic get-together stage, including that he lamented that the issue has progressed toward becoming political instead of scientific. But the science is on my side, he declared. Tested on the statement that 97% of climate scientists are in a concession to the issue, Coleman charged that the figure was manipulated. Since the Obama's administration just finances researchers who put out outcomes supporting the global warming hypothesis, he asserted, they don't have any choice. Here's the video. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. TCNS News. Ben Carson is spot on. He just dropped colossal warning, this is the question that must be answered, are we going? HUD Secretary Ben Carson is cautioning America what is in our future on the off chance that we proceed down the same ruinous way that such a large number of other past world realms like Spain, France, Great Britain, and Rome have taken after. He asked, are we going to face the same thing or are we going to be smart enough to learn from their examples? From the Washington Examiner, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development Ben Carson said Thursday that the United States could face the same fate as ancient Egypt and Rome unless it finds a way to shrink the national debt. You go back to 17th century Spain, 18th century France, 19th century Great Britain, ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, every one of them knew that there was a problem, they did nothing about it and they collapsed, Carson said. Are we going to face the same thing or are we going to be smart enough to learn from their examples? Carson was asked by Representative John Culberson, R. Texas, during his testimony on the proposed HUD budget to talk about the need for members of Congress to be honest with our constituents and tell them how urgent it is that we rescue Medicare and Social Security from insolvency. Carson responded by discussing the size of the U.S. debt. $20 trillion, the national debt. Just back it back up to $18 trillion. If you tried to pay that off at a rate of $10 million a day, 365 days a year, it would take over 5,000 years, Carson said. "This is what we are putting on the back of our citizens," he said. "Every of those thousands of babies born today will come with a debt of $60,000 on their head. This does not go away, this is there. So we have to work within that reality. Almost every society had an opportunity to do this. The Treasury Department has warned that Congress will have to act before August to raise the debt ceiling, or the U.S. will not be able to borrow any more money. The national debt is just short of $20 trillion. We would do well to regard Carson's words and, most likely, President Trump is completely mindful of the risk of fall in the event that we don't get our national obligation under control. That is the reason he is scaling back some government organizations and disposing of others. How about we simply trust he can complete before the Democrats do any more harm? What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Washington. Uncovered. Another leaker has been revealed. Comey didn't even realize he dropped the leaker's name. It's the story of previous FBI Director James Comey is a wound one. Is it safe to say that he was subtly utilizing FBI resources for bolster either of the two candidates for president? What did he think about the charged impedance by Russia in our decision? Why was he let go by President Trump? What revelations would we be able to hope to get notification from him? As his testimony before the Senate has started, there is an expectation that we may find solutions to no less than a couple of those inquiries. This depends, obviously, on the congresspersons asking the correct inquiries, and also Mr. Comey being blunt in his answers. We've absolutely observed a lot of the inverse when people, for example, Hillary Clinton, seem to give testimony. A standout amongst the most vital inquiries that requests to be addressed are from where have the holes started. It turns out from his declaration that Comey, himself, was the source. He is the person who gave the requests to discharge certain subtle elements to the press. Fired FBI Director James Comey told the Senate Intel Committee on Thursday that he asked a friend of his to leak to a memo he kept regarding his conversation with President Trump to the press. That and the data that takes after ought to give you a smart thought why he ought to have been rejected. Comey admitted this after Senator Susan Collins, RME, asked him why he kept the memos. She then asked if he ever shared any of them outside the Dodge. Of course, this was leaked to the New York Times. They ran with the story that Trump was pushing Comey to drop the Flynn investigation. Daniel C. Richmond confirmed to the Washington Examiner that he was Comey's friend at Columbia. He has been referred to in the New York Times as a longtime confidant and friend of Mr. Comey's, and his bio at Columbia's website lists him as an advisor to FBI Director James B. Comey. This entire investigation, on which the Democrats have put so much expectation, would genuinely harm President Trump, may end up having the inverse impact as the fact of the matter is uncovered. What the Democrats have implied for mischief might just vindicate the president and close down the insane calls for prosecution by the similarly insane congresspersons like Maxine Waters. That is whether she makes sense of what is happening. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. The Gateway Pundit. Nikki Haley just dropped mammoth ultimatum to United Nations. This should make the UN squirm in their seats. We as a whole realize that President Trump settled on the correct decision in picking Nikki Haley as his ambassador to the United Nations. From the earliest starting point of her appointment, she has made it superbly clear to the UN, as well as to the world, that the United States will at no time in the future endure their hostile to Israel inclination. In any case, now, she has given them the final ultimatum that should make them squirm. On the off chance that the UN Human Rights Council proceeds with their outlandish predisposition against the country of Israel, at that point Nikki Haley has recommended that, with the president's consent, the United States would soon be leaving and pulling back from this chamber. What a rude awakening for this liberal group. From the Telegraph, the Trump administration is considering withdrawing from the United Nations Human Rights Council over what the U.S. ambassador described as its biased stance against Israel. Campaign groups condemn the threat, saying America should get its own house in order before undermining the global effort to protect against human rights abuses. But the Council's critical view of Israel has long been a source of contention in the U.S., Israel's closest ally. Nikki Haley, U.S. Permanent Representative to the UN, on Tuesday told the 47-member forum it was undermining its own credibility by turning a blind eye to abuses committed by other countries. The United States is looking carefully at this council and our participation in it. We see some areas for significant strengthening, she said before the council at its Geneva headquarters. She compared the case of Israel with that of Venezuela, where dozens of protesters have been killed during months of political turmoil, yet which currently has a seat on the council. It's hard to accept that this council has never considered a resolution on Venezuela, and yet it adopted 5 biased resolutions, in March, against a single country, Israel, she added. It is essential that this council address its chronic anti-Israel bias if it is to have any credibility. What Ambassador Nikki Haley has said is the reality that this stuffy, no great chamber expected to listen. In what capacity can this gathering call themselves the Human Rights Council in the event that they invest the greater part of their energy assaulting Israel and not denouncing different nations that are really harming their subjects? The lip service is psyche-boggling. Maybe if the United States really left this board, as well as the United Nations altogether, the loss of wage would be a sufficient hit to constrain an entire shutdown. We trust both President Trump and Nikki Haley to settle on the correct choice on if/when/how to pull back. Ideally within the near future. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. The Tele Marco Rubio grills James Comey and proved President Trump innocent. This is huge. Senator Marco Rubio was extremely odd today with the questioning of previous FBI Director James Comey. Here is the thing that Marco Rubio needed to say to James Comey. With only one sentence, Marco Rubio just took down James Comey and his lies about Trump. Watch what occurred next. Mic drop for Marco. This was a noteworthy line of questioning that he held to the previous FBI Director James Comey. James Comey has blinded the press to distort the president. This person is an obligation to this country, and Trump was so ideal for firing him. Watch the full butchering beneath. This demonstrates Trump is absolutely innocent. Do you hear that, Democrats? Trump is innocent. He was never under any investigation. With Comey conceding that he leaked to the press through a companion. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for unthinkable. Right after Comey testimony, President Trump's lawyer just made his worst nightmare come true. You'll cheer. Keep in mind how James Comey's testimony today should be the smoking gun that Dems expected to impeach Trump. No doubt, it wasn't. What the hearing really did was demonstrate that James Comey accomplished something very awful to hurt the president. Chaffetz said Comey's releases destitute the law and he lied about his purpose behind them. Mark Chaffetz brought up that James Comey utilized one of Trump's tweets to legitimize his breaks. The main issue, the tweet came after Comey leaked to the NY Times. Chaffetz stated, although Mr. Comey testified he only leaked the memos in response to a tweet, the public record reveals that the New York Times was quoting from these memos the day before the referenced tweet, which belies Mr. Comey's excuse for this unauthorized disclosure of privileged information and appears to entirely retaliatory. Not only that, however, James Comey additionally conceded that the reason he leaked was to attempt and compel a special counsel to assume control over the case. The issue is, those stories repudiate each other. Trump's lawyer likewise thought that it was appropriate to let the general population realize that the president never told Comey, "I need loyalty, I expect loyalty and for more substance." This is a very difficult issue that should be seen by everybody instantly. Not exclusively did Comey's testimony prove Trump didn't obstruct justice, it additionally put James Comey in the last place anyone would want to be. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Daily